Scrappy Peep, Suzanna here today for the Scraproom, and I'm sharing with you this layout created with the Best Day collection from Pinkfresh Studio, which is part of the October Flavors of the Month kit. So I'm showing you all of the pattern papers as well as the cardstock. I am creating with the add-on as well pattern paper and the embellishment collection. So for the embellishments, you're going to get the puffy stickers and then 2 extra pieces of paper for each collection. So I want to use that circle as my base of my layout, and I've decided that these leaves cut out, if I fussy cut them, I can tuck them in behind the top left-hand border there, and that will create a fun cascade, kind of like a willow tree, the cascading of the leaves of a willow tree. So I'm going to use my X-Acto blade here to just cut along that same line as the circle. So the idea is that I will tuck them in behind there, and then I'm going to stitch, machine stitch around that circle. A, because I want a little bit more of the navy blue, and B, because I want to provide some unity between that top left and some of the bottom right cluster. There will be a cluster at the top left there, and that will tie the whole thing in together nicely. Now, I don't have a lot of this paper. In fact, I only have the one sheet, so I am going to go ahead and try and salvage what I can of the remainder of that paper there. So I'm going to go ahead and trim a circle slightly larger. There is also, you can see, a larger gap in the top right hand side, and so I do want to fussy cut one of those other leaves and tuck that in there to just close off that gap a little bit. And that is going to be the foundation of the page, and I want to add a little bit more color. There's a lot of color in this layout compared to what I would normally do, and I am going to change up my design principles a little bit. I typically like to create with a visual triangle. However, instead, this design principle of this particular layout is what's called a diagonal. So the movement of your eye moves from very dominant cluster on the top left through the center of the photo down to the bottom right, and you will see that as that unfolds here. What I am working on here is just cleaning up a couple of the leaves. I really want the leaves to be separate so that you have a lot more movement on the page there, but I also have to make sure that I get those leaves tucked far enough up into the top left that I have room for the photo and not too much of Mia's head gets covered there. So the idea is that I'm going to tuck the photo into the top left as well as the bottom right, and you will see how I'm going to fussy cut one of the flowers to tuck that in. So I went and machine stitched off camera. A, I didn't want the table shaking, and B, you don't need to see that. That's just literally machine stitching. And then tying off the ends. When I put my pages into my page protectors, I don't like the threads to get caught, and so I just use some artist tape to secure that down there. So this is where I'm playing with the placement of the photo. Because the photo is slightly on a diagonal too, it adds to that diagonal line of motion that I'm creating with the page here. So this is where I'm going to start building that top left cluster there. You can see how that bottom right cluster has 2 flowers, and so I want 2 flowers up the top, and so I'm going to use that Sizzix die. It does not come with the kit. That is part of my stash, as well as some cardstock to create that other flower there. Now you can see that in the puffy add-ons I did have more flowers, but they're not quite as large, and I want the balance, equal weight of the floral cluster at the top left as I have on the bottom right. I also want to add a little bit more color to this top left, which is why I've got that sticker phrase there and why I'm going to add that navy blue there. There's a lot of navy in that bottom right cluster, and so I want to balance that with a little bit of navy up the top there. I also feel like I need to have the same weight of colors and weight of depth of color. So by that I mean lights and darks between the top and the left. I don't want them to look identical, but I want them to almost mirror each other in principles. And so that is why I am doing what I'm doing with this particular flower. A little bit about the story here. So we were on summer vacation, and this is Mia's new shirt. We often like to buy a little memento of our vacation, and this is what she bought from a farmer's market that we went and visited. It was a really cool farmer's market. We were in central New York at the Finger Lakes, and so we were at a farmer's market in Ithaca, I believe. And while she fully admitted, and I think I say this in the journaling, that she did not need any more clothing, she definitely needed this shirt, because where are you going to find it? You know, it's not like we went to Banana Republic or somewhere similar. So this flower has some holes per se in the background. It's not fully closed, and so I am going to put it on white paper and close that off a little bit. I also feel that pink flower, you can see it has a little bit of yellow in the center there, and so I'm going to use a piece of the scrap to go ahead and put some yellow into that flower as well. So there's a little scrap that I have there. Off camera, I am going to use, I believe it's Lawn Fawn puffy letter stickers that are a similar color to one of the pinker puffy stickers that I will put on the page. That will go in the right-hand side, top right-hand side. And then I will journal briefly down below. I will also put the date. Sorry about my big old head there. I'm still trying to figure out this whole filming situation. I, I did a live, when was that? 2 weeks ago, perhaps, my first ever live, and I had to put my camera into horizontal on me or away from me in order to get it horizontal down onto my workspace, and it changed the alignment of everything that I'm working with. So I apologize when you see my big old head in there. I also like to stand over my work, which makes filming very difficult as well. So that is the beginning of that cluster at the top left there, but it's very short and squat, and you can see how this bottom right cluster is a lot wider. It flows outwards a little bit more, and so I'm going to have to find a way to get a little bit more coverage on that top left over there. And that will come. It's still not quite as wide as the bottom left, but I have a limited resource, because when you subscribe to these kits, you get a limited number of embellishments, which is fine. You really don't need more than you get, but I'm still not sold that the layout is going to stay the way that it is. So just doing a little bit more fussy cutting here so that I can add in that floral layer. I love the way that just that one piece there pulls the floral around the movement of that circle there. And I need something somewhat similar up the top left. And I think I've got it there. It's not quite as drapey at the top left as it is on the right, but it does, I am going to expand it a little bit. So this floral here, I'm going to house it on my trimmer, which is sort of my I'm thinking about it spot. And the reason I am thinking about it is because the picture is very dark. Not dark, but the picture, this collection is rather pastel-y and soft, and that picture is more bright and vibrant. And I feel like I need something to temper the vibrancy versus the softness. And so I felt that in trying to put something to the left-hand side, it was going to take away that white vibrant space, which was going to make that picture less vibrant. I'm not sure that now that I have the finished layout, I'm not sure that I still agree with that. So this layout may get changed somewhat, I'm going to be honest, but I'm not really one to do that. So we'll see. I am cutting this sticker so that I have a little border. You can see that diagonal motion that I referenced earlier. I still feel like I need a little bit more navy blue, and so I'm going to put that just a little shot up there at the top right. And I like the way that almost creates a visual triangle, even though the idea is not to have the visual triangle, um, because you have the three horizontal elements that are on the page there. So this, my friends, is pretty much going to wrap up the layout. I am going to shift some things around the layout a little bit. I'm going to create a tag here that I'm going to tuck in, and that's part of what I'm not sure that I'm going to leave. But this is a layout for the scrap room. It is a kit club, although you do not have to subscribe. If there are extras, Rochelle is happy to have you buy them, but you do not have to subscribe. If you subscribe, obviously you're going to get it every month, but if you're not sure that you will use the collection every month, you do not need to subscribe. You get 4 different manufacturers, and you get a sampling of the papers and the embellishments, which I think is a perfect way to not overwhelm yourself with stash. I have really enjoyed working with these collections, which I have done for quite some time now. So that's just a little bit about the Kit Club. If you have any other questions about the Kit Club, be sure to head over to the website and check that out. And if you don't find any answers over there, be sure to leave them in the description box down below, and I will do my best to get back to you. And answer whatever questions you may have. So upcoming, I am just going to off camera put the title on. I am going to move the puffy glasses over to where it says Love This Day, that puffy sticker there. And I am going to use the enamel dots that came with my collection as well. And you'll see those in the close-ups. I am actually going to use a star as well that I don't believe comes with the collection, although it may have been in the add-ons. So that, my friends, is going to wrap up my layout. If you have any questions, like I said, please don't hesitate to leave them in the box down below. Thanks for stopping in today. Enjoy the close-ups. Come back again soon. Take care.